Hello, everybody. Gonna do a quick reading here today. So hopefully you can hear me okay. I am actually turning up the volume on my Bluetooth. So hopefully it comes through clearly. Anywho, gonna get started with the What's the Vibe deck. Good news, you guys, I got my grass mowed. Bad news, I'm probably going to have to fire another weed company. Oh my gosh, the dandelions and other weed, it was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Especially in the backyard. It's like, are they even spraying back there? Anyway, you know what I mean? I cannot be home 24/7 to monitor these people, for the job that I'm paying them to do. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Right? To be continued. Cue the soap opera music, right? But if you got my video earlier, I said I'll just have to hire the same people as the neighbors because theirs are actually they never sprayed theirs for years, and then they just started spraying it and now it looks fine. And I had the same people coming for how long? You know what I mean? And still this year I switched companies and it's still just like, what's going on? Anyway, the first card out is toxic. Drama, arguments, incompatible. Yes. This paying for this service that is crap. It's incompatible with me. Okay? And arguments. Yeah, I don't want to argue about it, right? Lust, greed, by any means necessary, inconsiderate. Yeah, sometimes people let their lust for greed, cloud their judgment, right? And can lead them to be inconsiderate. You know what I mean? It's like not everything is, closing the deal on a hard sale. Like, do anything, promise them the sky. You know what I mean? Like, no, we're not trying to live in some kind of fantasy world. Like, this is just regular old stuff, right? Anyway. Thrills, continuous cycles, bad decisions, addictions. Okay. You know what's weird? I was thinking about this earlier. It's like, there's people okay with doing some of this stuff, right? But if you say that they're doing it or call them out on it, then all of a sudden it's a problem. And then you're the bad guy. And it's like, wait a second. I'm just saying what you were doing. Like, at the time they seemed to be okay with it. So it's like, why are they having a problem now? So this card here, it says bad decisions, addiction. She's holding a glass. Like, it kind of makes it look like she's like out at a club, like thrills. Like, you know what I mean? Are you gonna run into Mr. Right at the club? Not necessarily, right? But I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm just saying, right? Waves, emotions, worry, and fear. Okay, so this person could have wanted you to be in a toxic mindset. My apologies if you're in the chat today. I cannot see it on this view that I have currently, so please do be kind to others in the chat. All right, abide by the rules, right? Or you will be flagged. Like I had to remove somebody earlier because they were flagged by YouTube. So, some of this, it's not even, like I already asked you guys, to behave appropriately. But, this is like when YouTube flags it, like it's kind of hard for me to ignore. So, don't blame the tarot reader, okay, for your bad behavior. All right, because you decide to act a fool and get yourself banned off my channel, right? And possibly losing your YouTube account or something. You know what I mean? Like, at a certain point, people have to take responsibility for their actions. So, collective, Again, this emotions, worry, and fear. There could be somebody who doesn't want you telling your story. And maybe because, some of these thrills that maybe you had in the past, right? Maybe, led to some continuous cycles that weren't so great for you, that maybe led to bad decisions. Decisions you maybe wouldn't have normally made, right? If you were just acting on your own accord, right? Okay. and this person wants you to be on this wave again, like the highs and lows and the and it's like that will exhaust a person. Again, toxic drama, arguments, incompatible, right? You want peace, then you can't be arguing every day about everything. Again, I was thinking about this when I was out mowing. A lot of people don't like religion for the fact that you go into their place of worship, all they can talk about is hell. All they can talk about is devil. All they can talk about is what's going on wrong in the world. It's never anything about what a great day it is, how lucky I was to even be outside today, working outside. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, right? Um, and it's like we need to understand how to accept the positive things that are in our life as well as understanding the lessons from the negative, right? It doesn't just have to be one way. And some people are in this continuous cycles mode because that itself gives them a thrill. Like they don't know how to get a thrill off of something positive and good because that's just their choice, right? At the end of the day, like the person that got flagged by YouTube on the last reading, it's like they made a choice. So, actions have consequences, cause and effect. I mean, are they teaching that in the schools anymore? I hope so. I feel like they are. It's just maybe people aren't listening or don't want to listen or, there's so many excuses these days. And it's like, you can make excuses, but it doesn't change the facts. Soulmate, twin flame, friendship, romantic partner. Yeah, collective, I feel like this is appearing in your throat chakra. So I feel like you've been longing for somebody to talk to, somebody who understands you. Just somebody who can be on your level, can actually be a friend and a romantic partner, right? And then you think, oh my gosh, then I do have the best of both worlds. Well, maybe this is my twin flame, right? Somebody who doesn't keep you in your emotions and worrying all the time and looking over your shoulder at who they're talking to. And, because they used to love to go out to the club and flirt with so and so. Or, do you know what I mean? And maybe in the past that caused arguments or drama, right? Or maybe, in the past, like this, somebody didn't want you to have no thrills at all, right? And they wanted you to be under lock and key. Well, this soulmate card here, this picturing this couple, they're like laying on a blanket outside under the stars. So, there's an open sky there. It's like they're not caging each other in, they're coming together in freedom of choice. Right? A lot of people have that parentified relationship of like controlling, right? But, a lot of parents learn eventually too, you cannot control everything that your kid does, right? You can instill in them, one way or the other, of course, right? Healing, self-care, introspection, meditation. Okay. So it looks like you're being asked to, kind of clear your energy, clear that third eye so that you can focus on the cool things that are coming towards you. Okay. Maybe you just celebrated a milestone. In religious terms, sometimes that's, the celebration of a sacrament, right? But, outside of, in the secular world, we might call those milestones, and maybe for some, like recognized as, adulthood turning 18, right? Or turning 21, things of that nature, or, getting your first place on your own. You know what I mean? Like how how does that work for you? Right? It's definitely a change, right? And when you look at the types of things that cause people stress and can lead to mental health episodes, a separation, divorce, or death is like right up there, followed by job change, followed by moving. Okay, aside from like financial problems, right? Um, so again, if you're in the flux of any of those things, on the surface level, some people might look at that and be like, oh, too bad for them, right? And I've had people say that to me, like thinking I was going to be all sad and stuff. And I'm like, actually, it's kind of a relief. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, right? So, collective, don't be afraid to get into that healing, that self care, introspection, meditation mode so you can have those conversations with yourself. So when other people come up to you, it's going to be so much easier, right? Like you're not going to be leaving that table saying, "Man, I really wish I would have said this," or "I wish I would have said that." You're going to be satisfied with your response, how you responded, and leave it at that. Right? Because that's something that you get to heal on your own, and you don't have to have that audience of people to understand it, right? So, and again, this might be leading you towards this soulmate again, where you're able to, again, take that vision. So taking something out of that 5D area, right, and putting it into the 3D, physically, verbalizing things. I know I talk a lot on this channel about people who talk and don't do much, right? People could be like, oh, I'm listening to you talk, you're not doing nothing. Well, anyway, whatever, you're watching this reading, so it's free. Okay, you get what you pay for. By the way, you can always like the video without being a subscriber, but you can become one today, and it is the 100% free way to support the channel and these messages, okay? So, again, the healing. Let the healing begin. Yes, exactly. Thank you for the likes so far, by the way. So let's pull another card. Established, settle, secure, wealthy. Right. So you're healing so that you can, move into this established feeling where it's like, okay, that, maybe that's your highest vision of having, being settled and secure and la la la, right? And it matches your vision for yourself that's healed, and then this soulmate's going to show up and understand what you're doing. Because so many people out there obviously don't know what they're doing, so they are surely not going to understand what you're doing. Because you're just operating at a higher level. Some people do not know how to be successful. They are afraid to succeed. Whereas other people, it is kind of natural for them and they enjoy it. Some people don't like that for some reason. And because they have difficulty with it, then they got to have some difficulty with you. And it's like, instead of just trying to learn from you. But, that's the ego, right? That's the ego talking, right? I mean, people used to call psychology pseudoscience, and now they lock people up based on, neighbors making diagnoses from their windows, as if they're in the movie Rear Window, right? I like the original one myself with Jimmy Stewart, but, I haven't watched that in a while. And you know what? I feel like that's a good movie leading into fall, and I'm so glad our, little heat wave has broken a little bit, because oh man, it's those days when it's so humid and hot and it's just like, oh my god, when is fall getting here, right? But then again, it's like I kind of like how long summer feels, so for me personally, I enjoy my daylight savings time, and I hope we get to keep it, but who knows, all right. This is like a nature deck here that I'm pulling from. So we'll see what comes out. Oh my gosh, these doggies are so nice and quiet. I wish I could take a picture of them right now. They're like facing each other, sleeping. It's adorable. Harvest, speaking of fall. Determination, hard work. And then it has pictured here the corn, the squash, the pumpkin, You know, the weed, like some other stuff. Anyway, so yeah, collective, you could be not focused on toxic arguments and instead are focusing on your harvest, right? Again, some other people might be having a problem because they just got problems. You know what I mean? What are you going to do about it? You still have your work to do. You cannot fight everyone's battle for them, right? Especially if they are being toxic and if all they want to do is be toxic. I mean, at a certain point, they got to sort that out themselves. Moth, mystery, concealment, and illusion. So, collective, this person could have concealed their greed, concealed like how actually inconsiderate they are. Okay. You know, so this illusion might have, you know, appeared a lot more attractive than it actually was once you got into it, right? Because it's picturing like a strawberry that's open, but it's like, you know, what's the strawberry like on the inside? You know, is it already mushy? Is it already starting to go bad? Like, or is it green? You know, you know what I mean? And you are definitely not green, right? And somebody might have thought you were, so that's why they thought that they could, you know, get one over on you, right? Salt, protection, banishing, negativity. Exactly. What was I talking about earlier about, you know, yeah, you know, I'm not denying the existence of the devil, but you know, some people that's all they want to talk about. And it's like, are you worshiping God or are you worshiping the devil? Cuz, you know, I'm just saying. So, you know, this protection, this banishing negativity, this is like knowing that you are, you know, lifted up enough to, you know, in your spirit to, you know, contribute what you need to, and that you're protected in order to do so. You know what I mean? Like, you're understanding that, you know, your contribution is needed. Okay? And it doesn't matter if you used to have addictions. It doesn't matter if you had bad decisions, you know, and maybe you were caught in a cycle or something. Now you're protected. Now you don't have this negativity around you that was kind of leading you into temptation, I guess, is what I want to say. Trunk, stability, loyalty, reliability. Okay, so again, stability here. All right. So again, instead of these, you know, waves of emotion like being constant, you're getting here, you know, this stability. Again with the owl. This is the second time an owl's come out. And again, I put up my owl air freshener in the vehicle earlier when I was vacuuming and cleaning out. The poor dog was in the back, like in the corner, you know, thinking I'm gonna like try and run the vacuum on him or something. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Is that all dogs that are scared of the vacuum? I don't know. Or is it just mine? You know, I vacuum and then, but you know, then we went through the car wash and he was okay. Whereas my other dog, when I first got her, oh man, she hated that car wash. She did not care for it whatsoever. I think it was the noise. Anyway, Sal, planning, setting intentions, optimism. Okay, so that's something you're going to be able to do with this soulmate. Because they're going to understand you at a friendship level. They're going to understand you at this romantic partnership level. That you're going to be able to set good intentions. You're going to have hope for the future. You're going to be able to plan. It's not going to be like you're always behind. Right? Because when you're dealing with karmic people and people that always got something going on, it's like there's just never a straight play with these people. It's always some weird catch, and it's just like it's a hassle. It's annoying. It's disrespectful of your time. Okay, this inconsiderate came up here with lust. How about inconsiderate? You know, you could be doing something else instead of watching them doing the mess around. You know, and you're like, I didn't sign up for that. This person gave me the illusion, right, of having their stuff together. And obviously they don't. So with this sow here, this planning, sowing the seed, you're thinking about the future, not cleaning up the past. Some people are so karmic, they never ever end up cleaning up their past. And those are the ones that, life catches up to them and they end up in jail or something. And it's like, oh, well, you didn't want to clean this up? Well, I got something for you. They want to mock the universe. Have they never watched one of them superhero movies? See how that goes? People act like this, these stories came out for a reason. So we can learn the lessons. Don't ignore the lessons when it's right in front of our faces. I mean, we have so much accessibility to the lessons these days. Can you imagine? What your great, 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 whatever ancestors, how their minds might have been blown by this information, right? And we're able to get it on a freaking daily drip from the internet, and other media, television or whatever, radio, right? Since there's still technically radio, okay? Anyway, sage, wisdom, purification, harmony. Okay, again, with this self-care, introspection, and meditation, you might want to burn some sage or something like that. Candles are on this card here where it says healing. Again, allowing the quiet of the mind, don't let, your phone usage become, an extension of your personality, right? There's other things in you. Yes, it's, we can interact with the world, right? Look at those, old videos of, how many people used to show up at the World's Fair, okay, to see such and such. Well, these days people are showing up on, ratings, on views online, on, how, station numbers. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like how many people are listening? So the phenomenon of wanting this connection and gathering in a way is not necessarily new. It's just the way that we're doing it, right? It's a little bit more spread out. And maybe that is good for a purpose, right? Okay, altar, gratitude, releasing burdens. Okay. So I think, collective, as you show more gratitude, this established wealth is going to come through. Okay. And then on the bottom of the deck, it says summer, expansion and growth. And there's a little bee here, just leaving one of the sunflowers. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. So you might have a gratitude altar, maybe a journal, maybe just a little, corner where you, might put fresh flowers or some, dried herbs or, things of that nature to, honor what you need to honor and, release things that, maybe aren't as important as you thought that they were at one time. Alrighty. Oh my god. Now I'm getting sleepy. 2 of Cups on the bottom of the deck. Let's see here. Pull some tarot. Oh my gosh, 2 of Cups again. So, yeah. So, collective, I don't think you're wanting anybody who's toxic to come into this harvest season with you, right? So I guess just beware of somebody that, could possibly want to take advantage of your hard work and determination and be like, oh, that's so great, you're doing well, I'll just slide right in. And you're like, nah, no. We're like, no. Yeah, 10 of Swords. This is just... It's like they did their best to kill the momentum, right? And they sure did. And, to the point where it's gone in reverse. It has left the city limits, right? Maybe even the state. And you're just like, yeah, I'm not keeping track of that anymore. So, like, why should you care? What's the Tracy Chapman song? Give me one reason. And even if they did, where this says by any means necessary, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a long cold winter, ain't it? Oh well. Right? 6 of Wands. Okay, so if you were ever, kind of feeling shamed by some of these cycles or addictions or whatever, this 6 of Wands here is telling you to hold your head up, right? Again, that's a way, when you lift your head up and you face the day, that is a way to say, look, negativity, you might be there, but you don't own me, right? Four of Wands. Wow. Okay. So as you're stabilizing here and looking for the right kind of loyalty and reliability, yeah, it's like showing up here with this Four of Wands. Like, okay, you got it. What was the song I heard earlier today? Roy Orbison. Anything you want, you got it. That's going to be this person. Anything you need, you got it. Anything at all, you got it, baby. Right? This person's going to be like, oh, you need that? Not a problem. Oh, we need to do this? Not a problem. There's going to be a whole lot of not a problems, right? Whereas before, it was nothing but problems. To the point where they acted like your existence was a problem. And isn't it funny when they're sitting up in your house, eating your food, sleeping in your bed, but somehow you're the problem? Somebody get that woman from 227. What was her name? Mary. Hi, Mary. She would just kind of shake her head jacket. Oh my God. Here we go. Here we go. Our entertainment has started, right? But you remember on that show, Mary and her husband had a pretty strong relationship and they communicated as partners. Okay? Things weren't perfect, but they weren't all so bad. She got to sit there on the stoop and gossip with her friends every now and then. That's not so bad. Leo strength card. Is Leo season still, right? Rounding out, right? So we should be entering Virgo here pretty soon. So again, this strength that you've demonstrated, this is how, you've sowed those seeds, right? So again, it's like this soulmate's going to come towards you like a magnet. Okay. King of Swords. Interesting. The metal and the magnet, right? Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. So you might take a pretty logical approach to this healing and understanding the wisdom that's going to come out of it, right? Instead of being all in that emotion, right? Not letting the emotion get so carried away. Yeah, 2 of Swords here. Okay, so Yeah, there's something here that's just kind of off in a way. Especially with this Two of Swords, because here it's showing you're established, you're showing gratitude, all this stuff, but you also have some other things going on. And it could be, you know, maybe you haven't been as social as you've, you know, been previously. Maybe you're avoiding immature conversations here with this Page of Cups, where it's just like, you know, you're like, I'm not a teenager anymore. It's nothing personal. It's just, you know, not what I'm doing, you know, kind of thing, right? Um, so this Two of Swords might actually be calling for you just to kind of have faith and like sense out the situation, but you know, don't lose your guard necessarily. Um, you know, especially if somebody toxic tries to re-enter, as that card came out first. And especially if you are, you know, in the middle of your harvest, you know, and then they're like wanting to start things up again, and you're just like, I mean, it's like, you know, ask a farmer if it's good to have a wedding during harvest season. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy. Okay. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where it's like, you are not on the same page as this person, or whatever the situation is, um you know, on this toxic end, even though that they have dressed it up, right? But that doesn't mean that you don't have strength. That doesn't mean that you don't have the right perseverance here for this Four of Wands, and you know, healing and all this other kind of stuff. So um since the summer card came out, this could be one of those things where, you know, somebody appears like before the end of the summer or something. You know, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, you know, you bump into him at the grocery store or something, and you know, trying to talk your ear off. Oh boy. Anyway, but hey, you know what I mean? We all have appointments we got to get to. Now everybody can sit there and chit chat all day. So anyway, thank you for the like so far. Again, please remember, you do not have to be a subscriber in order to like the video, okay? But you can become one today, and it is the 100% free way to support the channel, okay? And all the readings on here are free. You know, yes, I have a donation link, but you know, please be forewarned. I will, you know, never reach out to you on any kind, and I have this all listed in my description, in the main description. I will never reach out to you on any kind of messaging app trying to solicit a reading, okay? You know, I be at an event or something, sure, but I don't, you know, make make cold calls for readings, you know. All right. I allow people to come to me, and especially in the way of this YouTube channel, it is just a really great delivery device, I believe, in order to reach people. You know what I mean? That it's, you know, there's nothing really special you have to do. You just have to, you know, open up your phone or your TV these days, and you just click on it. You know, I mean, it's like, it's not um it's not taking away from, you know, your pocketbook that way, right? If you're just looking for something to kind of think about, maybe give you some inspiration and understand if it's your message or not, right? Because, you know, this soulmate card that's out here is super strong. So is this healing, this Four of Wands, Six of Wands. So it's really weird how this is just bookended with the Two of Cups, Two of Swords, Ten of Swords, and then you have all this good stuff in the middle. So I guess that's the thing, collective. Even if something else started out rough or ended roughly, don't don't be afraid to start something new, because remember all the cool stuff in the middle that might still take place. All right, so that's all I have for today. All right, until next time, please do manifest wisely. Bye bye.